Greetings, Chummer, and welcome back to another RIT90s recap. This time we have episode 31, Full Party. While the rest of the party was upstairs completing Steve the DM's cooking challenge for Gyukun, Mordred and Gawain remained downstairs to try and maintain the air quality of the cafeteria and prevent the fluorescing astral bacteria from invading their temporary haven. Mordred, of course, contributed to the Matrix-facing work, whereas Gawain remained in meat space to ensure his teammates' safety. Meanwhile, Kay races upstairs to aid the rest of the Neon Knights as they search for the rest of the vestiges of Eternia. Arthur, Lancelot, Percy, and Merlin take a moment to examine the Aegis before Kay meets them in Avernus's kitchen. Merlin reflects on her knowledge of high society to help Arthur uncover the origins of the Aegis, which was crafted out of a partnership between Ares Macrotechnology and Telestraean Industries. Merlin recalls running into one of the Telestraean family during a gathering of the Star District elite and relays what she knows about James Telestraean III to the party. Mainly that they operate out of Portland and Tir Tangier and focus on genetics, neural network, and military contracts. Downstairs, Mordred asks Arthur to help him power up the burner deck in order to increase his ability to break through the Ares ice and keep the air clear. Gawain takes a moment to investigate the airlock again while Mordred is occupied. Between the window and Mordred's access to the cameras, they're able to see the hulking form of a large insect spirit larva ripping through the remaining servo units with its pincers. Gawain recoils at that revelation and, in a mild panic, relays the information to the rest of the group. Percy decides to scout ahead as the party makes their way toward the Court of the Dark Lord to find their next tool, the Third Eye. Kay follows close behind, surprising Percy as they make it to the threshold of the recreation room. Percy encourages the eager Kay to scout ahead before they both become distracted momentarily by the various arcade-style games and foam pit. Struck by a sudden case of nostalgia, Percy forgets the task at hand and makes for one of the gaming consoles as Kay triggers the AR sphere that transforms the room. As the rest of the party enters the room, they select their AR D&D characters from the list that Steve the DM provided. With their presence in the room detected, the encounter begins and a visage of the Dark Lord appears before them on a large Gothic throne. As the Dark Lord begins his script, the party fumbles through their AR interfaces to figure out how to use their new characters before being hurled across the room by magic. Merlin, as Avery, attempts to persuade him to give the party the third eye, but to no avail. Kay, as Udro, investigates the room to try and find the treasure and instead finds a magic banhammer. Percy, seeing that her character Sybil is able to charm people, attempts to cast a spell on the Dark Lord. However, the Dark Lord was able to shake off the effects of her spell and immediately launches the party into combat. With Lancelot as Gyukun, Merlin as Avery, Kay as Udro, Percy as Sybil, and Arthur as Dharma, the group rolls initiative and begins their assault against the Dark Lord in AR. Percy draws her katana as Sybil produces her own sword in AR. She launches herself forward using her adept skills while Sybil uses Zephyr Strike to get up close and personal with the vampire. However, she almost hits Arthur in meat space. Udro then uses his new banhammer to attempt to strike the Dark Lord, but abandons the weapon after it misses its first hit and instead favors their unarmed melee attacks. Avery, with a flick of her hair, flips off her enemy and casts Rialtham's Psychic Lance. Arthur, taking the DM notes from Merlin, tries to hack the system alongside Mordred to weaken the Dark Lord and buff their AR characters. Then, Dharma casts Turn Unholy to further debuff the vampire. The Dark Lord, immobilized by Mordred and Arthur's efforts, loses his main action. Gyukun then makes another melee attack against him before the Dark Lord attempts to escape to the next stage of the courtyard encounter. However, Sybil is able to use Counterspell to prevent this. The Dark Lord then makes a physical retreat, provoking several opportunity attacks from the party. Tune in next episode to find out what happens next. And always remember, the birds work for the bourgeoisie.